Hey everybody, welcome back to the channel again. This video, we're just going to do a quick overview and a quick look at the week ahead. So that'd be week 10 of the NFL season. And this is just the standard Sunday slate. And yeah, we're just going to take a look at some of the initial takes on pricing and just games. Look at maybe some of the higher total games and just initially kind of prices that stand out or players that stand out or just kind of take a quick look. So this is just the Millie Maker, just opened up a random tournament just to kind of look into just the pricing here. So obviously you're going to be crafting your lineup construction is just going to be based on the contest that you're in, the size of the contest, and all those those factors. So let's take a look here at some of the quarterbacks leading off at 8,000 here. Kyler Murray against the Panthers at home. Be interesting to see what the injury is on him later in the week. So just going to stand firm on that. Josh Allen against the Jets. Man, Josh Allen's someone that we definitely have to take a look at this week. It's just been odd, right? I mean, when he gets a prime matchup at Jacksonville, and just what happened, right? I mean, what a terrible game that was, and he just did absolutely nothing. He's had some interesting performances, right? I mean, obviously week 1 against Pittsburgh is going back. They weren't really doing that much early in the season. Kind of got it going, and man, not to overreact, but that was a pretty poor showing. Going up against the Jets, obviously another good matchup for him, so should be able to get back on track this week. Let's look at some of his rushing numbers though. So 44 yards week 1. He's got like this 40-yard kind of average, except for this one Washington game. You throw that out there, he's between 30 and 50 yards. So that definitely goes a long way. Just hope that him and Diggs can kind of get back on the same page. Let's take a look at Diggs real quick while we're on Josh Allen. He's still at 75. He's still priced up pretty good. They priced him up with the matchup. He hasn't performed at any of these price tags really. Like he hasn't had ceiling output even at this highest point total is week 6 against Tennessee, and even at his price, he didn't really get there. Kind of waiting on this whole explosive game from Stephon Diggs in this Bills. Well, Stephon Diggs for one, but just him and Josh Allen, like they just haven't connected. He's spreading the ball out a bit more, whether it's Beasley or Sanders or whatever tight end they're playing now, Sweeney, and kind of just spreading it out a bit. So yeah, it'd be interesting to see if what the ownership there is on Diggs and Josh Allen. Obviously comes in next to nothing. It's probably a good spot to buy at, but creeps up there. Might be a good spot to avoid too. So just all depending on what the rest of the field's doing. Let's go back to quarterback here. Take a look around. Tom Brady against Washington. He might be pretty popular. Washington's defense just has been atrocious this year. Obviously doesn't have the rushing ability and that rushing upside, but they're pass first team. It wouldn't shock me if Brady goes out there and throws 5 touchdowns against Washington. Even on the road, wouldn't shock me at all. Let's see, Justin Herbert against Minnesota. Herbert had a great game last week. I was on him last week, just didn't have the right stacking combination. So probably he's not going to be my first look, Herbert. He's popped twice. Other than that, maybe 3 times really. I don't know. Not totally sold on the matchup there with Minnesota. Just felt like Lamar got there at the end of the game and with his legs a lot. So I'm not totally sold on Herbert at that price tag. I think if I'm paying up for quarterback, maybe honestly it might be Brady. Just kind of first look, might be Brady, and depending on the ownership, Josh Allen. Aaron Rodgers, we can just kind of gloss over there. Although I think he'll be back this week. So that C19 is probably going to be old. Aaron Rodgers is in against Seattle. Makes sense, but he hasn't really had the numbers this year either. Him and Devontae haven't really had some good games here and there, but not like last year's obviously MVP season. It's okay, right? Look at his game log here. It's okay. I think you can get outcomes like that paying down. I don't know if you really have to pay up for Aaron Rodgers, even though they are playing Seattle, in Green Bay. So I understand the matchup is good, but don't necessarily know if that's a place I'm looking to go to just initially. I haven't looked at any projections just yet. Popular quarterback, probably Dak Prescott here against Atlanta. I think everyone's just going to forgive them getting blown out by Denver, go right back to the Dallas stacks against Atlanta, who's just terrible on defense. Chuck, Dak in there with pass catcher or two, and run it back with Cordell Patterson, maybe. I don't know. It's pretty crazy. Him or Pitts or whatever definitely can make a stat like that work. But at 6,900 for Dak Prescott, I feel like that's a little low. He still has that rushing upside too, although it's kind of interesting with his calf. He has this game like 35 rushing yards. He's not running a whole lot, but gives you a little something. He can definitely do worse. Russ will be back this week against Green Bay. Not really excited to go there either. Green Bay's defense isn't the best by any means, but they are at home, and I'm just not really dying to play Russ first game back off of injury. Jalen Hurts there against Denver has a rushing upside. Probably not going to pay 65 for him. Not in a tournament, just like a decent cash play. I mean, let's see what he did last week. I was contemplating playing him against 16.5. I mean, his floor is relatively decent. So with that rushing upside, obviously you can't go really that wrong with Jalen. In cash, I don't think I'll be there in tournaments, like I said. Tannehill against the Saints, no thanks. Cousins, no thanks. Matt Ryan against Dallas, you can kind of get maybe a little cute there, just playing the other side of that Dallas game. 6,000, kind of price creeping up. No, I mean for Matt Ryan, yeah, price is definitely getting up there. He's matches the highest price he's been all season. Last time he was $6,000. Week 1, he put up 7 points, so that doesn't really feel too good. Dallas' defense has been much better. Obviously excluding like last week, but they have been a lot better than they were last year when they were just historically bad. Wentz against Jacksonville, that could be a pretty nice spot there with Pittman. Get some cheap stacking options, so that's pretty interesting. He might be a little popular as he's below 6,000. Ben is just dust. Bridgewater against Philly, that's an interesting one. Cheap enough. Sure, stacking partners are cheap enough there as well, where you can kind of get along with stacking him and saving some money to put elsewhere. Taylor Heineke at home against Tampa. Obviously, their pass defense is not very good, but not dying to play Taylor Heineke. And Tampa Bay is getting a bit healthier on the defensive side of the ball. So I probably wouldn't go there. He probably wouldn't be my cheap option. Baker against New England. Probably not. Trevor Lawrence with that foot injury, ankle injury. I have to wait and see the health on him. If he does play, makes it somewhat interesting, but just because he's cheap, and again, probably not, actually. Probably not. Mac Jones against Cleveland. Probably not. I think that Myles Garrett, man, saw that video of Mac Jones, twisting someone's ankle. I think they're going to be out for punishment on him. Probably be off of Mac Jones. And plus, who you stacking and like just these random tight ends and stuff? Like, what are we getting there? And that's pretty much it. I mean, you can't get me to play Darnold even at that price tag. That's pretty much it. No one else is really down here. That's it. So it really just feels like a kind of a thin quarterback pool just initially. Just as I go through it, more than likely I'm paying up, and if I'm not, it looks like Wentz might be the cheapest I'll go, but more than likely just paying up. Yeah. On to the next one here, running backs for the week. Christian McCaffrey, first week back last week, and only had 14.5 points, only 5 targets. Sam Darnold is killing the offense. I just brutal. The true colors are showing. It's just he's just awful. So if Christian McCaffrey isn't getting the targets that he's used to getting, then I'm off. Like you can't justify 8,500 for a Christian McCaffrey. I know it's like cheap in the Christian McCaffrey world, but like if he's not getting the targets, like what are we doing? And Arizona's a good defense. I just don't know if I can get there this week. Again, watch ownership. If he's coming in next to no own, like obviously it makes for a decent play, I guess, but probably won't catch me there. Alvin Kamara, he's been the focal point of this Saints team. Had 7 targets last week. With Simeon there, that's somewhat encouraging. Only 50 yards on the ground. Yeah, that's also another tough one. He is playing Tennessee, so maybe they get some more involvement there, have some more luck getting in the box. So I could definitely see myself on Kamara this week if I am paying up. Jonathan Taylor at 81 against Jacksonville. I think the field's going to be going there. Makes sense. I mean, Taylor's been out of his mind this year. Great running back from Wisconsin. And he's just tearing it up. I mean, the guy's getting 19 carries, 16 carries, 18 carries, 14, 15. Getting some more involvement in the passing work as well. So makes sense. Have to do a little dive on his snap share and his compared to some of the other guys they're trying to force in there. But if he has a pretty good sustained role there at home against Jacksonville, maybe with Trevor Lawrence out. If Trevor Lawrence is out, I think they're just going to be having this lead and just running the ball. So he's going to be popular, I would think. Dalvin Cook here against the Chargers. It looked pretty explosive against Baltimore last week, so definitely could see myself getting to some Dalvin Cook exposure there as well. You want to run the ball too on the Chargers, so definitely could see myself getting there. Having just a feeling, like initial feeling, you're going to see a lot of builds going to have 1 or 2 running backs from this Kamara, Taylor, Cook, and then there you go, Najee Harris, like boom, 7,900. He's just getting peppered with targets, looked great on the ground. Coming off short week, they played Monday night. Looked good out there for the most part. Their offensive line is terrible, but he's getting a lot of targets. Got really close. Look at the attempts, man. Wow. 50 attempts the last 2 weeks combined. Guys he's their offense. So 7,900 makes more sense to kind of go to Harris over, spend more money and play Christian McCaffrey, honestly, for me. Eckler, I kind of let everybody down last week, but I think the field's sharp enough now that they're not going to be paying up just because of that. I don't know. Kind of like those other guys above him a bit better. Probably won't be that high on Eckler again. I'll wait and see the ownership and projections here. Had 3 targets last week, which is not what anybody wanted from him. But he has been pretty stable. I mean, that's his. Other than that, he's been pretty good. So I like those other guys above him better. Kind of after McCaffrey and before Eckler, I like those guys in there. I think that's where we're going to see the majority of the field. Nick Chubb, questionable tag against New England. I'll probably be off. I think Belichick's going to sell out to stop him and make Baker beat him, which probably isn't going to happen. So I'll be off that. I know he had a great week last week. Price came up a bit. Derrick Henry, big dog, sayonara. Zeke at 7,000 against Atlanta. He's going to be super chalky. Didn't get there last week. Don't think. Yeah, didn't really get there last week, but Only had 10 carries, which is a little interesting, but I still think the field will be there. Um, the Tony Pollard thing is interesting. It's kind of hard to play that situation out, but 7,000 for Elliott at home against Atlanta. Kind of getting back on the right track here after the whole Denver performance. Definitely see where Elliott makes sense. Aaron Jones, wow. I mean, look at snap shares, but AJ Dillon looked like he was taking over the backfield. He just looked like a better back. I mean, he just looked like the better guy back there. I know Green Bay paid him all the money, Aaron Jones, that is. But man, AJ Dillon looks for real. He looks very good. So be a little worried of the rushing opportunities with Aaron Jones this week. So not dying to go there. Again, it'd be interesting to see what his projection is later on in the week. DeAndre Swift, he's getting all the goal line work, getting a ton of targets against Pittsburgh. Not someone I'm trying to be on. I think he'll get beat on. I think he might be over-owned this week. Even the matchup, I think people are going to just trust that inside the goal line work and passing down work in this garbage time against Pittsburgh. But I don't even know if he gets to the goal line. Not there. Cordell Patterson, he'll be pretty good option this week. I mean, this guy is like their offense. I mean, he is their offense. So say goodbye to Mike Davis. It's Cordell Patterson pretty much. It's all him. James Conner without Chase Edmonds, no thanks. Can't do it. Robinson, watch out for the health on him, even if he's in against Indy. Nah. Old man Lenny with the passing down work, no thanks. I'll be on the passing. You can't play Lenny. Like anytime Lenny is chalk, he just doesn't get there. They're not a running team. They throw the ball a ton. If you're playing Tampa Bay, don't get sucked into the whole Tampa Bay running. Keep it simple. Play Tom Brady, play Evans and Godwin or whatever, one of those two, and Gronk, and call it a day. Damian Harris, no thanks. Carson, no thanks. Michael Carter against Buffalo, not a great matchup by any means. Gibson, what happened? Especially going up against Tampa Bay. No, not there. Chuba, he's irrelevant if Christian McCaffrey is getting a full workload. Melvin Gordon, kind of hard to tell, but Melvin Gordon against his Philly team, he could get it done. He has to be super efficient, right? He's only got 10 carries. He had 21 carries last week, so he just has to be efficient. If he's getting that workload, maybe, but I can't see him clicking that name, especially in a smaller field or something. Kind of some thin plays down here. Probably not. The rookie, he's been explosive. Had that 100-yard bonus last week. It looks great, but again, how much work is he getting, and how much work is Mel getting? So kind of hard. Probably won't be there. So yeah, I think you're going to see the field paying up at running back, and maybe one of these like mid-price running backs. But definitely looks like the initial build for me looks like some high-price running backs, which is kind of tough because we already spent long to play a high-price quarterback. So going on a receiver here, Devontae Adams with Rodgers back against Seattle. He'll probably be popular. A.J. Brown, no thanks. And I know his target share is pretty great, but I just don't know if I can get there at that price tag. I mean, another $100 to keep Devontae Adams. No. Jefferson, guy's been pretty good. hard to doubt that. Terry McLaurin and some Tampa Bay stacks make sense. Already talked about Diggs, whether or not he gets there. It's been, I don't know what Diggs. 5, 11, 7, 8 targets. Man, you're paying a premium for that too. It's just for about $4, you get an Adams or pay down, and you get CD Lamb. It's kind of like you have to watch ownership and kind of figure it out from there. Godwin at 71, finally priced up. What was he, like 59 last week or 2 weeks ago? Yeah, I mean, come on, right? CD Lamb, gotta love CD Lamb. He's playing against Atlanta. Keenan Allen after a big game. Yeah, you can see some Chargers, Minnesota stacks for sure. Just got to be careful with pricing. A lot of these guys feel to be priced up. Tampa Bay is going to be kind of hard to fit too because these guys are priced up now, so you got to make some decisions. Deontay Johnson will be interesting, kind of either him or Najee. What's the field going to do there? They're going to be targeted, especially at playing Detroit, so they'll be popular. And I'm not going to talk about everybody, but Mike Williams, who I played last week, let me down. Maybe a good spot to go back. Pittman with that Carson Wentz play at 63. Don't see a lot of people playing Wentz this week, compared to those other high price guys. So he's like the sixth most owned quarterback, something like that. You can get a little, Wentz, Pittman, and insert Mo Alley Cox here. More no. And Cooper's still priced down, relatively speaking. Marvin Jones on the bring back to that Carson Wentz kind of makes a little sense at 58. Emmanuel Sanders, I encourage you guys to kind of take a look at. He has some air yards, man. Emmanuel Sanders, you can definitely. He just needs that. I mean, the one big week he had, he hit like a bomb or two down the field, 2 touchdowns. I mean, that's what you want, right? He's not getting those targets like Cole Beasley is, but he's getting those downfield targets, which is what you want. So that's a bit of an interesting play. If you're playing Josh Allen, you don't want to play Diggs. You can play Sanders and tight end. Sutton, who killed me last week against Philly, he could get back on track. Julio at 54 is interesting, even at the Saints, but could do worse at 5,400 for Julio Jones. There's Cole Beasley at 52. See, this is what I mean. Look at Cole Beasley here real quick. 11 targets, 13 targets, right? 9 targets. He's great for PPR like Draftkings is, obviously, but you want your guys getting the end zone too. So I'm probably more partial to the Emmanuel Sanders just for the upside play. If you're playing small field, you just want like a better median. Cole Beasley is going to get you there with 13 targets. Like, yeah, that'll help. But that high upside play, I think Sanders is your guy. Jarvis Landry, I think, let everybody down. He did that well, right? Last week, yeah, he did nothing. Marquez Callaway against Tennessee might be kind of interesting. You play him and Kamara, honestly, just because Marquez Callaway is not so much. But maybe not. I don't know. It's kind of tough. I have to figure that one out in the lineup and just kind of do like a little construction going. Tim Patrick, the man, the myth, the legend last week. Jacoby Myers, who everybody's just flocking to. I mean, has he done anything? What are we doing? Like, why are we continuing to play this guy? I don't understand. Like 5, 6, 7, 9. Like, okay, great. He's getting a handful of targets, but 48, I don't know. Like, is New England offense, like, are we dying to just play something like the wide receiver 1 in New England? Like, why? Like, I don't understand. I mean, shoot, look at DPJ on the other side of the ball. Like, I think Belichick's gonna just stop the run. You can get DPJ on 2 bombs. Like, why not? I don't know. I'd rather have him than Jacoby Myers. Call me crazy, but that's just me. There's other guys down here that you play that's probably better than Jacoby Myers. And Chenault hasn't really been the guy. Pascal at 45. You need a little Pascal and Pittman and Hurts, and Wentz, and you're save some money there. It kind of makes sense. I definitely like that. Might be a little. I mean, I would think it would be relatively owned just because of their price tags, but maybe not. Something to keep an eye on. Jamal Agnew, Urban Meyer's favorite person. Well, Zacchaeus had a touchdown, I think, last week. Robbie Anderson on that viral photo, him looking at Darnold like, what are you doing? What are you doing playing Robbie Anderson? It's their question. No thanks. Oh man, it gets kind of thin down here. I'm sure there's some guys. Randall Cobb, if you want to play Devontae Adams, you can certainly play Cobb too. If you're playing Rodgers. Let's see. It's a little thin. MBS probably for playing Rodgers if he's back and feeling good. Probably go if Rodgers is back and healthy and MVS is back and healthy, I would probably play Devontae and MVS just because MVS gives you that huge bomb, right? I mean, you just have those plays. He's had, I think, a couple games, right? I guess just this one. He had the 47-yard touchdown. And I guess he got hurt or whatever. So, yeah, I don't know. I think you'd do worse taking a shot on like a $3,500 mark MVS. Like, he's the downfield target guy. It's kind of really thin, obviously, down here. He still with the touchdown. I don't know. It gets kind of thin. Quick look at tight end. Pitts is a top salary tight end. Had 2 good games. Other than that, nothing. Cordell Patterson's the guy. Hard to justify 58 for Pitts, even though he is playing Dallas. I don't know. I'd probably stay off of him just initially because I'm spending up elsewhere. But it just feels like it would be a week where I'm just going to be punting tight end and just hope that doesn't come back to kill me. Because who am I trying to avoid? A Pitts ceiling game, a Hawkinson ceiling game against Pittsburgh, Schultz ceiling game, who I might include if I'm playing Dallas. Goddard, no thanks. Ertz, nah, not dying to play Ertz. These price tags are so just clumped together, right? It's just like Pitts is head and shoulders above the rest, and it's just like, okay, all kind of grouped together. Pat Fryermuth on the Monday night pricing, he is going to be popular, I would think, as a decent, relatively punt tight end against Detroit. Like, why not? Ricky Seals-Jones could do worse. Dan Arnold could do worse. Like, why are these guys down? Like, these players down here, there's not much separating their median projections from these players up here. There's just not. So feels like it definitely pumped it off. Mo Alley Cox, like I talked about earlier. Alberto, get back on the Alberto train if Fant's still out. Yeah. Sweeney and some Buffalo stacks. Like, I'm punting tight end for sure. And defense doesn't really matter. So put your defense in wherever it is. Steelers at home against Detroit kind of correlate with Najee, makes sense, or Pat. But I don't know. Defense doesn't really matter. So it's kind of a first look at some pricing. Didn't really stand out to me. That was kind of crazy. Not really in particular. Maybe obviously like just the Pittsburgh players with the Monday Night Football, pricing from last week. So then you get priced up. Honestly, it kind of looks like maybe just to see how much money we'd be left with. Some good tight end on defense. Let's see what's up. Play against Tampa. But Jets. And yeah, 65. Man, that's pretty nice because again, we kind of wanted to pay up at quarterback, pay up at running back. I did want to pay up at quarterback, but if you can get, this salary works out in a way where you can pay up at running back you kind of punt off tight end a little bit, include it in your stack. You don't even have to run this back. Yeah, I think that makes sense, and you can kind of pay down in one spot and still get like a stud receiver. So I think that makes sense. I definitely kind of like that from just like a pricing standpoint. I'm not a big Carson Wentz guy, but can't hurt. Matchup doesn't hurt you at all either. So that definitely makes sense. But just initially, I'm going to be looking at probably either Wentz or pay up, punting the tight end to just dirt cheap tight end, getting at least one of those relatively high or mid to high price running backs, and then at least one of those high price wide receivers. Just because one final look at the receivers again, Devontae Adams is going to be hard to get away from at 7,900 with Rodgers back. It's going to be hard. Then you have like these Dallas guys, these Tampa Bay guys. It's going to be hard. Even Pittsburgh, whether it's Deontay Johnson, Freiermuth, or Harris, probably one of those will be in there. So something like that. But definitely want to probably get exposure to Devontae or CD or Godwin, something like that. So makes sense. But that's kind of the first look, and I'll be back later in the week to do some stacks, kind of go through all the pricing, kind of who we want to target in these kind of the top 5 stacks that I'll be looking at for the week. And hope you guys learn a little something, and check back in later in the week. And if you would, just hit the subscribe button so you can always be in touch and see when I'm back with some new content. So thanks again for stopping by, and have a great rest of your day. Take care.